Hello, good night. This is U.S. Immigration Attorney Sharifa Tharpe. I'm here live to take your U.S. immigration related questions. Go ahead and put your questions in the comments now so that I can answer your questions. Thanks so much for joining me today. Today I'm going to focus only on questions. And of course, you can get in touch with me by calling the number at the top of the screen or going to the link in the profile in the bio. So hi there on Instagram. It's nice to see you. Thanks for joining. Thank you for joining. Go ahead, put your questions in the comments. I want to jump straight into questions. I would really like to focus on possible solutions. If you have any questions about possible solutions or situations you're in, go ahead, put those questions in the comments. Just don't put personalized information. Don't put it specific facts. That we do in a consultation. Thank you so much, Shante. Thank you. Thank you. I am so glad I get to spend my birthday today with you all, and my clients made me feel so special today. So I am really appreciating it. Sometimes we tend to, get lost in the day, get lost in the routine, and we don't stop to smell the roses, as they say. And today, first thing in the morning, I saw all the messages that came in. And let me tell you, it really made a difference. It made me feel inspired. It made me look at the next year, so the past year, as purposeful, and to continue that purposeful life that I've been leading. So thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for the birthday wishes. I appreciate it. Thank you. All right, so I'm going to answer some questions. So put your questions in the comments. Thank you so much for the love. Okay, I need to know, if you are a long-time green card holder, is filing for citizenship, are you going to be targeted? That is an excellent question. Now, we did see a green card holder who was arrested in their citizenship interview. This was a pro-Palestinian activist who was arrested. So he's never had a criminal record. He partook in some of the protests and demonstrations. I don't believe he partook even in any of the demonstrations that escalated. He was one of the noticeable voices in the pro-Palestinian movement, bringing light to what's happening in Gaza. And by the way, this is free speech activity. So he should never be detained and his green card revoked based on this. And of course, we have to see how that goes. Hold for a moment. My power is almost out, so let me get the power cord. Rashida. Can you look in my bag and get the power cord, please? I don't want to lose the live, and my power cord is out, so forgive me for the interruption. I have a full house because I am a twin. I don't know if you know, but I am a twin, so my sister is here as well. So that's who I was calling, and then my parents are here. The kids are here playing, so you might hear a lot of chaos in the background today. So please just know that's why. We have a full house for the birthday. You see it? Yeah. Thank you. You're welcome. Okay, let me just push this. Make sure I put the power in, and then we can continue. I'll continue answering. But in the meantime, while I'm doing this, let me explain to you. When it comes to green card holders, what I will say, and this was not something that was strange even in the last administration. Yes, they are going to be looking at your record more closely, and if they see anything, now they're looking at social media. So if they see anything that is against, I would even say against what this administration's position. Right now, they're focusing on the pro-Palestinian movement, but I've heard of cases where people's visas are being revoked for criticizing the Trump administration. So we can see cases like this where they may make an argument that it's either a national security risk to get you to approve you, and as a matter of fact, you need approve you for citizenship, and as a matter of fact, you need to have your permanent residence revoked. As an attorney, this is unbelievable that is happening, but what I can say is I think this is a saying too, the wheels of justice are slow. Unfortunately, in some cases, it doesn't happen overnight. And what's happening is these individuals who are going through the courts and defending their First Amendment rights, but also having to be detained, they have to go through the process. Now, they did, I believe, with Mahmoud, so he's the one that was detained for the protests. I believe a judge did find him deportable, but he can appeal it. And I do anticipate this is going to go through the courts. Right now, we are seeing where the courts are, right now, I would say the courts are really our only defense at this time, our only defense against violating the Constitution right now. And yes, it's not encouraging, because what we see is we also see the Trump administration disobeying court orders, and it's escalating. It's not over, because now Judge Boasberg, who had put a stop to the deportations to El Salvador, the Trump administration disobeyed that order and still move forward with sending the planes down. And now today it has hit the news that he may hold the administration in contempt. He's giving them a chance to prove that they shouldn't deserve criminal contempt. So it's escalating. We are seeing escalation. And that's not even in the case of Mr. Garcia, who is another case, right? Where now that is going through litigation, but that may very well end up in contempt as well, because they're disobeying that court order as well. So right now, I would say this is going to be the big test. But in the meantime, a lot of people are suffering. A lot of people who maybe just express their views are now going through the process of having their green card revoked and are being detained in horrific conditions. And that risk, as a result of this, we know that the risk is a lot higher for green card holders that are going for citizenship. This is why I am saying this. And sometimes I see comments on their videos that I do warning about what's coming. And to date, I mean, I think I've been pretty on point with a lot of what I'm saying here. A lot of being cautious about certain things. I think I've been right on these things. And what I would say here is, when I've seen comments under the thing saying liar or money, 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 that's all you people want. And I am telling you this because I know, and I'm not telling you what to do, but I'm telling you what to prepare for. And I would say this: if you are submitting any applications before the Immigration Service or before Department of State, do not take your case for granted. Do not assume your case is going to be simple, because that's how it starts, right? So somebody goes in for citizenship and they've never been arrested. They don't anticipate any issues. And then guess what happens? They go into this interview, they pull up something on their social media that's against criticizing the Trump administration. And now you're facing revocation of the green card instead of getting citizenship. It's that serious now. So no matter how simple you think your case is, forget all of that. It's time to make sure that you are prepared for what's to come, you understand the process, you get expert advice and representation through your process. And that's just a fact right now. All right. So, yes, I saw somebody say, are you answering questions? Yes, I am. And that was a long answer to the question, which was, if you go in for citizenship, are you going to be targeted? Yes, it is more likely now that you could be targeted depending on your background. They're pulling people off the streets and putting them in deportation proceedings before they're even convicted. So thank you so much, Christine. Thank you. Thank you, Sinia. Thank you. Thank you, Karen. Thanks so much. Okay, my husband has work permit. We still haven't applied for his green card after our marriage because we are dealing with marital issue if he is at risk for deportation. So why does he have his, let me see. Why does he, I would ask, how does he have his work permit if he's not applying for his green card? Because if you're a US citizen, I would think that the way you get a work permit, unless he has a work permit some other way. But most times when you're married to a US citizen, you go for adjustment of status, you get the work permit while applying for adjustment of status. But here you're saying he hasn't applied. So I need to know more. But I would say this, if you have not applied for his green card, yes, he is at risk. He's at risk. I don't know what his work permit is for, if it's even valid anymore. But if you can, it's urgent now to get his green card, to get him solid legal status here, not just maybe something that's temporary based on the work permit. I don't know if it's an H-2B visa that he has, but if he has an H-2B visa, H-1 visa, so if he has a work visa and he's here on a work visa and he's now married to you, keep in mind that's temporary and they are revoking people's visas left, right, and center, particularly students. So yes, I would say not necessarily just risk for deportation, just depending on his status, but if it's temporary, I mean, even green card holders are facing that risk, but he's will be in a better position as a green card holder than even a visa holder. So call us, let's talk. And yes, your marriage doesn't have to be perfect, but of course, the both of you have to be ready to go through that process together, because it is an all-consuming process. So make sure you get legal advice, get legal guidance to help you through it. Can I renew my F1 visa to India? Yes, you can. You can either go to the embassy or you can do a change. You can update your status here. It just depends on what your goals are. And there are pros and cons to doing it here versus doing it in all right, so let's go here. Are work permits and advance parole at risk of termination? Depending on how you got it, I wouldn't say that doesn't come to mind right away, right? Just termination. Right now, what is happening is we're seeing mass terminations of TPS, mass terminations of parole, which a judge has now put a hold on those terminations, so they cannot be deported. But work permits and advance parole usually come within either VAWA or adjustment of status. So, and VAWA adjustment of status. So you have to, those being terminated on a mass level is probably not going to happen because it is written into law. Okay, just let me know on Instagram if you're having a problem. I mean, I might have to come out and go back in, but let me know because I'm seeing some people saying they're having a problem. All right, now I'm on TikTok answering questions. Go ahead, put your questions in the comments. You work with Asylum, absolutely get in touch with us. There is a deadline for Asylum. So we want to talk to you as soon as possible. What are the requirements to stay in status as an F1 student? You have to maintain your student status. Don't violate the terms of your visa. Right now, if students that are getting even minor arrests or misdemeanors are having their visas revoked and they're being detained. So it's just being very careful. And there's litigation on that, so we have to see how that goes. Granted asylum, applied for green card, waiting for 2 years, but my work permit is going to expire. You have to renew your work permit. There's no hold on the work permits, but you need, right now they've announced that they are not making immediate decisions right now because they're going over the applications for fraud right now. So you can expect even a longer time. So start looking at extending your work permit. I'm in an abusive relationship. We seem to get RFE, but my wife did not respond to it. What happens? Get in touch with us ASAP. Can't stress it enough. You're in an abusive relationship. Your wife didn't respond to the RFE. In most cases where I work with my clients, this is done intentionally. And that means that you can qualify for VAWA, but it's urgent because you don't want your case to be denied. You need to apply for the VAWA and switch your marriage-based case to a VAWA case. It's confidential, so your wife will not be involved for your own protection, but you need to do it fast. You can apply if your marriage-based application gets denied. Keep in mind, it may not be too late, but it just means you might face complications. You might even be placed in removal before you can even apply for the VAWA. You don't want that to happen because it gets more complicated and you're at risk for being detained. So this is where I say, get in touch, it's urgent. Not responding to an RFE is pretty serious. It's probably going to lead to a denial. So get in touch with us to rectify that situation. But we need to talk to you to make sure you're qualified. Oh, thank you so much. How much is the consultation? 150. How long does it take to get an answer from administrative processing after interview? It could take anywhere from a day to 4 months. It depends on what they're looking at. Can we go to the Philippines for vacation? We have green card. We stay here in California for 6 months. I wouldn't be able to tell you that specifically. I would say this though, traveling is very risky. And if you're saying we have green card, we stay here in California for 6 months, if you're doing a 6 months here, 6 months there thing, you are at serious risk for losing your green card because those are the things that they are exactly looking for. They're looking for residents that are staying for extended periods of time outside of the United States. So be very careful and seek personalized legal advice for sure. Can DACA recipients still be able to renew the work permit? I believe that they are still renewing DACAs, just no new DACAs. What about the new marriage petitions for the first time? Are we safe? Marriage petitions, I would say this. I think one thing that I am learning is that while every single case, no matter what it is at an increased risk for complications, for denials, for additional questions. So I would say this, it is a path to get the permanent residence, just like I work with other paths to get status here, get relief here, get permanent residence here. And I would say as long as you qualify for anything, any legal path to status, that's a safe path. But everybody's facing a risk now, right? Because if you do your marriage-based petition, you make a mistake on it, you don't submit proper information, and it gets denied, you may very well still get a notice. So all applications, there's issuing notice to appear in immigration court. So all cases across the board, applicants are facing a risk that if it's denied, they could get a notice to appear in court. So I would say this, if you qualify for a benefit or relief, it's probably going to provide you a better option than not having anything at all. You're definitely not going to be doing yourself justice sitting there and not doing anything, taking any action to figure out legal options. But is it safe? It depends on the particular facts in your case, and depends on your background to determine if there are additional risk involved. But start with your options and don't count yourself out. That's one thing with this law firm is we focus on educating people and helping our clients to obtain status where they initially thought they could not. For example, the marriage, a lot of people think, oh, the only way I can do this is through marriage. But then when they do an appointment with us, we find that they've had an experience in their background that qualifies them for other relief. So this is where I say definitely get in touch with us. We are doing free initial evaluations. So just go ahead and go to the link in the profile, go to the link in the description of the video, and click on that link. It's going to take you to the website. You'll see the website. Sign up for a free evaluation or give us a call. The number is going across the screen, and the number is at the top of the comment section on TikTok. Notice sent to me. Anything I should contact them, or if I move? Yeah, whenever you move, you definitely need to let them know, because you don't want that getting lost in the mail, and that should be done within 10 days of the change of address. Did an interview for 5485. Will another be needed for I-751? Yes. And you can count on it under this administration. So the previous administration, they were waiving most interviews, but for this one, yeah. The biometrics for I-914, got a notice online that they waived my I-765 and that I should follow. So I'm not sure. But if it just means if they got your fingerprints for the I-914, they don't need another set of fingerprints for the I-765. So it's called a biometrics reuse notice. After a green card interview, how many months does it take for a green card to be approved? I've seen it a day later to 4 months later. So it just depends on the complications, depends on the additional questions. They may run additional backgrounds or look further into information. We're going to see that happening a lot more. I'm going to answer that. How can I speed up the process for I-485? If you have an emergency, if you can show they made a mistake on their end. If you sometimes, even if you hold certain positions in childcare, in the medical field, you may be able to get it expedited. If you have an expired visa and I-994, do you need to register? No. Those who entered with an visa or were issued an I-94, and because you could have been had both done, you don't need to register. Is work permit hard to get in Canada? So I don't do Canadian immigration. Thanks for sharing the live, Jerry. I appreciate that. Thank you for the gifts. I appreciate that. Ellen Street, thank you so much. Everybody that's showing me love, giving me gifts. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. All right. So now I'm on YouTube and I'm going to answer some questions here. Can I travel with a green card? Can I travel out with green card holder? So I would say this, definitely get legal advice. I don't know what the circumstances are. Oops. I think we lost the comments here. Oh boy, I lost a comment on YouTube. Okay, retype your questions, please. It looks like I lost the comments. So go ahead and retype. Let's see. If you're on YouTube, you're watching, just go ahead and retype your questions. I lost the question somehow. Okay, so let me answer some more questions that I see popping up on Instagram. Okay, so yeah, I think on Instagram the sound may be a little off. I'm sorry, maybe tomorrow will be better. Thank you so much for the happy birthday. My wife has applied for I-130 and we've been informed that it could take up to 17 months. Yeah, so I'd say it's going to be a while. Thank you, Bella Barris. Thank you for the well wishes. Thank you. Are there any delays with for adjustment of status application? We're not seeing it. It's going to happen gradually, but over time we're going to be seeing delays because they're going to be putting in, you know, all sorts of new processes that's going to make it a longer. So interviews, fraud detection is all going to be in there. I got questions. What's mean in visa bullet? They say you in priority date box. What's the meaning? So unauthorized, it usually means that they're not issuing because they've reached the limit. So when you say you, unfortunately, that's what it means. Thank you so much, Shanika. I appreciate that. Thanks for the birthday wish. I-130 approved. I-45 is being actively reviewed. Is that a good thing for immediate family? I wouldn't hold my breath. That I've seen that actively being reviewed there for a year. So, but it means that your case is, possibly at the bottom of a pile of on somebody's desk. My TPS, I'm back on YouTube. Thanks for retyping the questions. So please retype your questions here on YouTube, Facebook. Go ahead and retype your questions, please. My TPS is expiring in about a month, and there is armed conflict in my country of birth. Any advice on a way forward will be appreciated. I'm so sorry, and I'm hoping that they do renew the TPS. But if they don't announce an extension of the TPS, you'd have to look at other options like Asylum. And then we also evaluate for other options. So give us a call and let's go through that initial evaluation. I-130 approved. Okay, so I answered that. Can you travel inside the US with an EAD? See, as if it's a valid EAD, yes. But just make sure that you are contacting the airport and airlines to make sure you have the right documents to travel with, because they are coming out with a real ID law that requires certain licenses. But if you don't have a license, the EAD may be a valid form of identification. I just got my marriage-based green card in March. No criminal history. Is it okay to travel internationally? I can't tell you specifically because I don't know your situation, but what I would say is even green card holders are at risk. For even US citizens, we had 2 cases so far that I've observed in the news where attorneys are being held and they're even trying to look at their phone, attorney's phone. So and these attorneys, by the way, are US citizens. So they are targeting people across the spectrum of legal status, from citizens to visa holders to green card holders to those who are traveling on the travel document. So you just have to be very careful. Make sure you do everything by the book. If you do have to travel, I am being conservative right now, and I'm saying until we fully understand the approach of this administration, you should put a hold on your travel until we can at least understand what the focus is on targeting people coming in, putting them through secondary inspection. What is driving that for citizens, for green card holders, and for visa holders, and those on travel documents? Having VAWA work permit, can you apply for any jobs or specific jobs? You can apply for any jobs, absolutely. Okay, and then I'm gonna go here to TikTok again, and then I'll try again on. So I could try to Instagram. I'm so sorry you're not hearing me well. It sounds like there's an echo. It's cracking up. So I may have to come out and go back in, but I'm gonna lose you. So I don't know. Maybe we'll just have to start to have a better experience tomorrow, so I don't lose everybody. Please put your questions in the comments. I'm gonna answer some more on TikTok, and then try on Instagram, and then I'll head out for the night, and all being well, I'll be back tomorrow. Now, make sure you like, subscribe, follow, hit the notification bell, hit everything to make sure that when I go live, you can see when I'm live, and that way, if you're available, you can hop on the live and ask questions as well. My husband, no inspection here. What should he do? I should marry and something else. So yes, this is a tough situation. So if you came in to cross the border and no inspection, it means adjustment of status is not going to be the option here. So this is where we definitely need to talk to your husband to figure out if there are any other options. Sometimes it has nothing to do with his marriage to you as a U.S. citizen, but rather what did he experience that could possibly qualify him. So get in touch with us, schedule, and we'll talk. We can talk. We can do an initial evaluation and determine what to do. What is the processing time to reopen a withholding of removal? Because we want to apply for I-485. So I would say you could be looking at 6 months to a year and a half for that process. It just depends on the court and the communication, because the first thing that happens is there is a proposal to council, to the government council, that asks if they want to join the motion to reopen and terminate. If they don't respond or they don't agree to, then it goes directly to the court. So this does take a little time, and then the court has to take some time to consider whether they're going to reopen and terminate. So I would say you're looking at 6 months to a year and a half for that process. How long it take to get your green card? It depends on what kind of green card. Marriage based, it was 10 to 12. We're going to see that slowly, that processing time slowly creeping up now that they're requiring interviews again. But what I will tell you is that, in the past, since the year, we have gotten green cards for all of our clients without interviews. So that has been really great for our clients who were at the tail end of the process, and that was the worry. Not to say that that's going to happen with I think we're going to have more interviews than not. But we did see, or we are seeing green cards coming without interviews for VAWA. But when it comes to marriage-based, family-based, you can still count on an interview before they're going to make a decision. And that's just a part of the anti-fraud process. Can I get a green card? Let me see. I got the green card last week. Can I travel next month, or I can't? So it's not a matter of you can't travel. Green card holders can travel, just don't stay out of the country for more than 6 months. But me saying green card holders can travel is not me saying travel, because green card holders by law are able to travel. But they just, right now, we're observing that everybody who travels, including green card holders, are being screened more closely. And some, whether you're a citizen, whether you're a green card holder, whether you're a visa holder, you are being placed in secondary inspection. Now, the scary part about being a green card holder in that is that what if you're coming in, are you going to find yourself in a situation where you're getting your green card revoked by them? I mean, they can't just take your green card away, but what they will do, they may detain you just depending on what they're looking at. If they claim that you're somehow a national security threat, then detention could be on the table, or they could be issuing a notice to appear in immigration court to defend your green card. So that can happen at the airport. So depending on what they do, because they're going to look at your background, and if they see anything they don't like, they may do that. So we're seeing an increased risk of that. And so you have to make that decision, but you have to make sure you're fully informed about the risk involved. What is the processing time? So I answered that. Got my citizenship October. My daughter is 16. How do I get her proof of citizenship? So you can either apply for a passport based on your new citizenship, and of course your daughter has to meet all the requirements, or you can apply for her certificate of citizenship. All right, so let me go on to, let's see. Since IRS and DHS sharing information, they're targeting each one has ITIN number. So no, they're not targeting everybody. So based on the agreement, they're not targeting everybody who has an ITIN, but I would say anybody who's here without your papers, because immigrants with status, current status, people who are outside of the United States can even apply for ITINs if they have any kind of investments here in the US and they need to file taxes, they can apply. But the group that is at highest risk are those who are without their papers. So your visa is expired, or you cross the border without permission, and you have a removal order. Those are the individuals that are at the highest risk. So it's important that if you're going to apply for an ITIN, you have to make sure that you don't have, and some people don't even know that they have an order of removal, but you have to make sure you don't have an order of removal, because that's going to be the group that is being targeted. However, in the agreement, which hasn't been fully disclosed, what they did say is that anybody who, because the exception to taxpayer privacy laws, really, for them to disclose the information is if with another agency, is if the person is being investigated for criminal conduct, then they can. And what this administration is now making the argument is that people who are here without their papers are criminal. And now they're making it criminal. So we have in Florida, that law has been placed on hold, but it's an example of laws that may be coming down the pipeline even in other states. But another thing is failure to register. They are saying they can impose criminal penalties on anyone who fails to register. Well, there you go. If they check and they believe you should have registered, you didn't register, then they can turn around and say they're investigating you for something criminal. And now they can get the data. They can get your data because now they have a justification for the IRS releasing the information because, oh, you didn't register. No, this is not me saying that this is not me advising register or not, because you really need personalized legal advice to understand all the pros and cons and your rights regarding registration. And not everybody has to register. If you overstayed your visa, for example, and you came in with a visa, you had an I-94, you don't need to register, right? They already consider you registered. If you came into the country without permission and you didn't apply for an adjustment of status, then in that case, you may need to register. And if failure to register could open up a can of worms and justify the IRS's release of the information. So just make sure that you are fully informed. We at the law firm, we are helping clients to get the ITIN, and we have to make sure that our clients are fully informed before making any moves. So I would suggest that if you want to, but here's another thing. Here's another complexity to this whole thing. You're supposed to pay taxes. You're supposed to pay taxes. So, people are caught between a rock and a hard place. They want to do the right thing. And I know many top officials at IRS have resigned because of this. They have been in a position to protect taxpayer privacy, to ensure compliance with tax laws. They know that was a major concern for immigrants, was the fact that they want to pay taxes, but they're afraid. So it has always been long-standing policy that they would not disclose any information they have to DHS, to Department of Homeland Security. Well, now, of course, with this agreement in place, we see that's changed. So you must also comply with tax laws. So there's a conflict here. There's a major conflict, because who's going to compromise themselves? But here's what I would say. Whenever it comes to taxes, I would say you want to be in a position to show you're doing the right thing and you're paying the taxes, you're following the law. Because failure to pay taxes, that can really look bad on your good moral character. It can go the opposite way. Paying taxes can help your immigration case. Failure to pay taxes can result in your immigration case not being approved, because now it reflects badly, or it could result in failure to pay tax charges at the IRS. So I understand people are in between a rock and a hard place with this. And so you can always get in touch with us to just understand your rights, understand based on your particular circumstances what is advisable, and how, what decision help you to make an informed decision in this very, very difficult time. All right. Okay, that's going to be it for me. Thank you so much. I did answer this question here, and he came without inspection. I'm married to him in the USA. What to do. So this is where I say you definitely need to contact us. We need to go through the circumstances. Adjustment of status is probably not going to be an option unless he qualifies under Section 245I. So we definitely need to talk to him to figure out if Section 245I is applicable and whether we can move forward with the case, or whether there's other relief. What is the current timeline for VAWA? So apply, you'll get your biometrics in about 4 to 8 weeks. Then you'll get prima facie within 3 to 6 months. Prima facie offers a level of protection. Work permit 6 to 12 months. Travel document same 6 to 12 months. And then approval of the VAWA 2.5 to 3 years. And then within about 6 months to a year, you'll get your green card. You may get it with an interview. You may get it without an interview. So it definitely, I would say this. So with VAWA, going through this with my clients repeatedly, I would say the first thing that happens, these are the stages. The first stage is fear, distress, uncertainty, especially when my clients have never really thought they would need to do VAWA. They didn't know that they had those rights under VAWA. you know, when they come to me, they just know that they're in a situation, an abusive situation, a situation where they're being mistreated by a citizen spouse, parent, or an adult citizen child. And they just know that they can't continue to move forward the way they are, but they just don't know how to escape. And when I inform them of the good news about VAWA, they are relieved, but at the same time, very scared. And I understand their fear, but I've been through it multiple times to know that this is going to be the path for them. And I've seen multiple victories that just makes me smile to think about the journey I've had with them, and by the end of it, how I mean, when I see my clients by the end of it, they're a whole new person, right? So first step is the fear, the uncertainty, the distress, but just knowing they need a way out. We go for the VAWA, and you know it's still nerve-wracking because you know we're going through the application process, but they're not necessarily seeing the benefits immediately. Prima facie comes, and that prima facie usually means that if you they look at do a preliminary review of your VAWA, and if they believe you qualify, if everything was true today on that application, you'd be approved. They do this prima facie. So I sort of like to look at it as like a pre-approval, right? Meaning we think you qualify, but we have to take a really good look at your case first. If we have questions, we'll ask those questions later on. Then at the 6 months to 12-month mark, that's where the work permit comes, and it becomes real for my clients. My clients are extremely relieved because it means that now they have the tool in their hand that safeguards them. It means that they can completely gain independence if they haven't already. Usually just filing it alone has helped my clients to move on. And it's very satisfying for me too, because when my clients call me and they tell me what they go through, it makes me so angry that a loved one can treat another loved one like that. And I know the best revenge is for my clients to be able to walk away and say, I don't need you. Because a huge source of the mistreatment is the fact they think that US citizen or resident, spouse, parent, or adult citizen, adult child, they're mistreating them because they think they have that control using their immigration status. So it's so satisfying when we file this VAWA and my clients can walk away, right? So it's a whole journey, emotional journey, not just for the client, but I love to see the empowerment of our clients. When they get the work permit, that's where I really see the glow up. Um, I'm not recommending travel, but my clients travel. Um, you know, they're able to travel if they need to for emergencies, they can with a travel document. And my clients can work, they get better jobs, they get better leases on their place, they move out completely and gain independence from the relative that's mistreating them. Um, and they're just like a whole new person, just more relaxed, more sure. It's very inspiring for me. And then the work permit and travel document tends to keep my clients for a while. So I'm so sorry on Instagram we're having audio difficulties, but I don't want to end it and not be able to get you back. So tomorrow, let's hope it's better tomorrow. I don't know why that's happening. Um, yeah, but then the work permit is renewable and it holds a client until you know they're able to live, work, basically carry on with life, travel throughout the United States, show that they have protection with the work permit. And that enables them to stay like that until they get an approval on the VAWA, which that's what takes place 2.5 to 3 years. Once they get approval on that, then the final stage is the green card stage, and that tends to be about 6 to 12 months after. And we have been getting the 10-year green card for our clients, where they just get the green card and they're just moving on, and it's far behind them after that. So okay. All right, so let me see if I can come out and go back in for Instagram. So let's see if this works. Having some difficulties, so let me see if I can get everybody back. Hold on, bear with me. I don't know if that's gonna happen. Let's see. All right, I don't think I'm gonna be able to get Instagram back. All right. Okay, well, let me just finish this. I'll go on Instagram just to say good night, and then we'll call it a night here and start tomorrow again. So just like, follow, subscribe, so that you see when I'm online, and then you join me. Are there any changes to T visa? How long does it take to get a filing receipt notice? So right now they're taking a while to get to T visa, release T visa receipt notices. I would say 2 weeks to 8 weeks for T visa, and I'm even hearing some colleagues saying 12 weeks. So are there going to be changes? Right now, we haven't seen any major changes, but just with everything else, we do anticipate the way they're going to look at the cases, it's going to be different. And so that's where we have to make sure we're vigilant, we're meeting, we're meeting the challenge, and we're making sure the applications are solid going in. I forgot to add a 3-day cruise trip to my N400 application. How do I approach this? So you can submit, if you did it online, you can submit an amendment or submit a document, an addendum that states that trip. If your interview is right around the corner, I would also make sure you raise it with the officer, so the officer knows that it's not an intentional omission, because that can be serious. There is an argument to say that if the information was not going to lead to a denial, so having that information on or off the application would not have changed the decision. There's always an argument there to defend you, but do you want to be there? No. So just make sure that you bring that information to the interview, because they're going to give you a chance to give any changes and updates. So make sure you give that information, and also you can submit it on the online account as well. Do I need to bring my spouse to N400 if I-751 still pending? Great question. Yeah, they usually will not do an N400 without first processing your I-751. So I would say If they haven't specified bringing your spouse, you should be bringing your spouse, because I-751, they're going to process that first and then process the citizenship. How long does it take to respond to the RFE? Depends on what they're asking. Sometimes it takes a week, 2 weeks, sometimes months, 4 months. Are there any changes to the T visa? So answer that. Do you send one application and one fee for per applicant and dependent when filing I-751? It depends. So it depends. When you're filing the I-751 and you have a dependent, did the dependent apply within 6 months or get their green card within 6 months of yours? Then they're included on one application. If not, then you have to file independently. So it just depends. Definitely make sure you seek legal advice. If I have a permit with DACA and get a new permit with my AOS, which one do I use? Great question. So you can always, no, I cannot give you personalized legal advice just because I'm not your attorney. I don't know your case. But if both are valid, technically you could use both. It just depends. Like the AOS is 5 years, so you may want to update. It may be advantageous to update your employer with a 5-year work permit, because then they're not asking you to submit any kind of renewed work permit later on a shorter term. They'll wait about 5 years to ask you for a new work permit. So that's one example of where it may be advantageous to use the AOS work permit. But I can't, both are valid. So that's the thing. They don't stop you from getting 2 work permits if you qualify for 2 different things. We've had this situation, for example, with our VAWA clients. Our VAWA, when upon approval, they get another work permit. They get a 2-year work permit. And then they still have their adjustment of status work permit at the same time. The VAWA one does not come with a travel document, whereas the other one comes with a travel document and it's 5-year. So for some of my clients, it's more advantageous to continue to use adjustment of status, but they keep both in their wallet or purse because both are valid. Or you can put one, put one up and carry the other with you. I received 48 months extension in 10 days after filing instead of 10-year green card. Why? Yes, because they are going to take about 4 years. So the average time to process the I-751, this is where you're going from a 2-year to the 10-year. You have to apply for it. So it's not automatic. You don't just apply and then get the 10-year green card right after you apply. They're giving you a 48-month extension because they're actually giving themselves 4 years to process your I-751. I know it shouldn't be, but that's what's happening now, unfortunately. I'm gonna do one more question. I-134, marry my undocumented man. If you're a U.S. citizen and you marry your spouse who is undocumented, yes, that is a pathway. Definitely get in touch with us. This is a process that is going to take a lot, so you don't want to go into it blindly. Definitely get in touch with us, and we can first make sure you qualify and then get started. So 245I, yes. So 245I, I-130 alone will not. He needs an adjustment of status, but the section 245I may be an exception. All right, thanks so much, everybody. I see one more question. So how long for T visa waiting approval? So it's going over a year now, even approaching a year and a half for some cases. So I would say it's at a year and a half now, a year and a half. And as I said before, we might see longer processing times, so just hang tight. Do T status holders get the green card without interview? It depends. I would say you'd have to get through the T status first and then the green card. Not always. We are going to be expecting interviews now for the green card adjustment of status, just because it's an adjustment of status. So we are going to be expecting interviews. When a case I-485 was approved, what's the next step? You get the green card in the mail. What is the current? I answered that. So when an I-485, an adjustment of status, is approved, you get your green card in the mail. So that's great news. I have a friend who's here on visa, never returned over 20 plus years. What would be a situation? So this is where we definitely need to talk to that friend, because we want to find out what is it in their background that could possibly qualify them for relief. So tell your friend to give us a call. My advance parole was approved based on I-485 and VAWA approval. Can I travel? This is a question I'm getting often, and I would say, unfortunately, I'm not your attorney. I can't give you personalized legal advice. Travel is risky. At least for now, travel is risky. What do you know about the Q1 visas? I don't know what, in what context. I-485 is being actively reviewed and nothing is outstanding. Yes, don't hold your breath. I just got marriage-based green card in March. No criminal history. Is it okay to travel? Travel is risky. Make sure you don't have any risk factors in your background that could, cause you a problem coming back in. All right, so I think I've answered most of the questions. Thank you so much, everybody, for your time. It was nice spending my birthday with you as usual. And just like, subscribe, follow, hit the notification bell on the different channels so that you are able to see when I go live, and you can come on the live with me and ask questions if you're available. The channel on YouTube is Getting the Green Card, and I'm also immigration lawyer Sharifa on Instagram. So if we ever have any issues like this where Instagram isn't working or TikTok is glitching, then you can always go to the other channels and join me there as well. So it's Getting the Green Card, all one word, on YouTube. Then it's immigration lawyer Sharifa on Instagram. And since we might lose Instagram soon, Lord knows, I would say this. So since we might lose Instagram, I would say definitely join me on either Instagram or YouTube. So when I do the lives, you can just hop on and join me, and you won't lose contact with me. And I won't lose contact with you. Have a great night, everybody. See you tomorrow. Have a good night.